Welcome back, Endgame community. It's Chris, and today I'm bringing you some of my favorite sleepers that can help you win your Week 8 fantasy football matchups. Let's get into it. Let's start with a trio of running backs, and let's start with Samaje Perine of the Bengals. Obviously, we know Joe Mixon is the guy in Cincinnati, but when you look at this matchup against the Jets, what you notice about this Jets defense is teams going against the Jets average 36 touches to their running backs. Now, again, Joe Mixon is going to get the bulk of those touches, but he's not going to get all 36 of them. There's going to be plenty of opportunities here for Perine. We know Perine is the third down back, so that's a plus in PPR leagues because he will catch some passes. And if game script goes as we expect and the Bengals are blowing the Jets out, we'll likely see Perine in garbage time again, similar to what we saw last week. And this guy can always score a touchdown. So don't overlook Perine as a sleeper in Week 8 in a great matchup going against the Jets. All right, how about David Johnson? Mark Ingram was traded this week to the New Orleans Saints. That means it's now just David Johnson and Phillip Lindsay there in Houston. Now, David Johnson's been running primarily as the pass-catching back, but you got to think without Ingram, he's going to see more work on the ground. And the Texans this week are going up against the Los Angeles Rams, who we know have a terrific secondary and shutdown passing games. But they've been kind of average against the run. So I think David Johnson has sleeper appeal this week because, like I said, he's going to get a boost with more carries against an average run defense while also getting plenty of work in the passing game. So I feel a little bit safer about him than Perine, who I just talked about, but I don't feel like he quite has the upside of Perine. So if you're looking for a sleeper who isn't going to kill you this week, but probably isn't going to win your week, then David Johnson fits that bill. All right, then finally, the last running back is Rashad Penny. He actually outsnapped Alex Collins last week, actually outsnapped all other Seattle running backs last week, which is great to see in his first game back from injury. This is a much better spot than last week against the Saints because it's Jacksonville. This is a game where Rashad Penny could realistically see 15 to 20 touches. I still like Penny as a sleeper start. All right, guys, before we move on to wide receivers, just real quick, if you're enjoying the video, I ask that you take a second, hit that thumbs up. Really appreciate it. All right, let's talk about some wide receiver sleepers now, and let's start with Tre'Quan Smith of the Saints. Didn't really do much his first game of the year coming off an injury. 2 catches, 11 yards, 3 targets, but there's reasons to be encouraged because that was his first game. He was out there a lot. He got looks. That was just a terrible game on all sides of the ball. I guess the defenses are pretty good, but for both offenses, it was terrible. I like him a lot this week going up against Tampa Bay. That secondary is not good. It is not the strength of this Tampa Bay defense. And this is a game where the New Orleans isn't just going to be able to run the ball to, I guess Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara now 20 plus times. They're going to have to air it out because you got to think Tampa Bay is going to put points on the board. So Tre'Quan Smith, obviously Marquez Callaway, I guess the number 1 there. Tre'Quan Smith still available in a ton of leagues, and he's got incredible upside this week in a plus matchup. So if you're desperate at wide receiver, take a look at Tre'Quan Smith. All right, here's a name I didn't think I'd be mentioning in 2021, Freddie Swain. We talk about the Lockett-Russell Wilson connection. Well, there seems to be a Freddie Swain-Geno Smith connection, interestingly enough. 6 targets last week. He seems to be Geno's kind of guy, I guess, his safety blanket type of guy, which, isn't a lot with Geno Smith. Geno Smith has not looked great. Obviously, he had that 184-yard touchdown to DK Metcalf, but that was about it last week. But that was against the Saints. This week, they get the Jaguars. This is a much easier defense to be playing against, a much weaker secondary. If Freddie Swain is going to continue to kind of be Geno Smith's, oh gosh, I'm in trouble kind of guy, he's going to have sleeper value. And in this matchup, you can't really ignore that. So if you're desperate and your league is deep, take a look at Freddie Swain. And then finally, a bit more of an exciting name, and that is rookie Nico Collins of the Texans. He's got 11 targets over the last 2 games. He definitely seems to be the team's number 2 wide receiver for whatever that is worth. Tyrod Taylor is practicing, should be back this week. That will definitely help. If it's Davis Mills, I probably don't want any part of this passing game. But assuming Tyrod Taylor does suit up, which is looking likely, that's a big plus because in the games with Tyrod Taylor, they had 6 touchdowns. In the games with Davis Mills, they had 5 touchdowns. And Davis Mills played more games than Tyrod Taylor, so not good. But again, Nico Collins emerging as the number 2 here, and you got to think Brandon Cooks, he's going to be the primary focus of this Rams defense, which could leave Nico Collins open for more opportunities. Not a great matchup here against the Rams, but we're talking about sleepers, so Nico Collins is a guy to look at in Week 8. And even if you don't need him in Week 8, Nico Collins is a guy to add right now because it seems like his role is increasing. All right, guys, before I get to my last 2 sleepers for the week, I just do want to let you know that we need your support. We have a Patreon account. If you like what we're doing here, if you enjoy our content and you want to support us beyond just liking and subscribing to our videos and watching our videos, check out that link down below. You also get tons of amazing perks. So Patreon link in the description if you're interested. We appreciate you. All right, my last 2 sleepers, I'm going to give you 1 tight end and 1 quarterback. And let's start with the tight end, and that is Tyler Conklin of the Vikings. 3 of the last 4 games before the team's bye, he had 5 or more targets. He did have 1 touchdown during that stretch. No, he's not getting huge volume, but that's why he's a sleeper. This week gets Dallas. Dallas has not been good against tight ends, right? Trayvon Diggs doing a great job shutting down number 1 wide receivers. So that leaves a lot of the other players open, including tight ends. Tyler Conklin, I think, could have a nice game here in Week 8. He could find the end zone again. If you're desperate at tight end, which a lot of us are, look up Tyler Conklin for your Week 8 fantasy needs. And then finally, my QB sleeper is a guy I definitely did not think I'd recommend this year, and that is Jared Goff. And this is all based on the matchup, right? Going up against Philadelphia, who is getting eaten alive by quarterbacks, giving up 90% completion percentage to 3 of the last 4 quarterbacks that face him. Now, I don't think Jared Goff is going to complete 90% of his passes, but he could certainly complete 70% of his passes, and he could put up a couple touchdowns against this terrible Philadelphia defense. So don't love Jared Goff, but if you're in a Superflex 2 QB league and you're desperate at the position, I think Jared Goff is actually going to have a decent Week 8 fantasy game. All right, guys, so those are my sleepers for Week 8. Appreciate you watching. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.